computer. Okay, so I think I'm just going to turn it over to Kerrie
Yep,
and
I'm going to
Ashley
start off.
Spotlight. Welcome everybody that's watching us get this set up. I'm really excited for the call tonight. I think I need some of those when you practice saying things with marbles in your mouth. So you can say things well. I think I might need
Oh,
those.
goodness. Oh, well, I'm
All right.
super excited about this evening because I get to partner with my friend Ashley, and we're going to be talking about things that's going to make it so much easier when we go to share a juice class or share our business or just get to know people in a relationship. So I'm going to start it off. I'm going to be going over Ditch the Pitch, chapters 2 and 3, which is replacing sales pitches with persuasive conversations, and improvisation, which really creates persuasive conversation, which I'm super excited about because I love the improv. The whole idea about it is pretty exciting to me. So as we have an old baseball injury, I was thinking the other day, one of the goals in baseball is to get to first base. It's not really to get a home run. So it's the same thing in our business. Like, we don't want to do a home run. We don't want to get out there and, just swing away thinking we're going to get this incredible home run. It's really to move people around the base. That's the whole idea of baseball. And I played for years and years and years. So that really, when people think, oh, he's up to bat, he's going to get a home run. No, his job is to get to first base. That's his only job. And so when we're having conversations, one of the things that we tend to do is dominate or maybe not be as present. I don't know if any of you have had that conversation with somebody where they're kind of looking around or they're looking at their phone, or you can't get a word in edgewise. It's like you're not even being heard or listened to. And I'm sure all of you have kind of experienced that. Well, one of the things that we have to do, honestly, is earn the right to have a conversation with somebody. So we need to earn the right to enter into the world of the person we're talking to, and find out what's important to him or her. So I'm going to do a little role play. I'm going to call a couple people. Let's see, Patty and Sheila. I'm going to call on both of you. So we're just going to do like a 1-minute role play. And Patty, you're actually going to ask Sheila how she's doing. And Sheila, just come off with something that is just random, like maybe about your wrist, or something. And Patty's going to be asking you lots of questions to go deeper. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes we get hit with something kind of out of the blue and the conversation stops. Like, now what do I say? So Patty's really going to be diving deep to find out really how Sheila is being affected. So Patty, you can start off and ask her how she's doing.
Hey Sheila, how's it going? I hear you just had a nice long trip.
I did, and I'm doing okay. I had a little accident after I got home.
From your trip, you had an accident after that when you got home?
Yes.
And are you okay from that accident?
I broke my wrist. I have a plate and 8 pins in my arm.
Holy cow, Sheila. How does that make you feel emotionally after coming back from such a beautiful trip? I understood it was amazing.
Both trips were absolutely amazing. It just pointed out my vulnerability.
And what do you mean by vulnerability? In what way?
Well, because I live alone and the accident happened at 4 a.m. It just pointed out my vulnerability for being in the house by myself.
Wow. Kerrie, how far would you like me to go?
Go ahead and go. Just a couple more questions with her on that.
So Sheila, how does that make you feel being alone and being so vulnerable? What kind of emotions does that stir up?
At first it was frightening, but then I realized that I handled everything very well. So I was pretty proud of myself, actually. I actually took care of everything before the paramedics ever got here, so I wouldn't be caught in my pajamas.
Ah, that doesn't surprise me. So that must make you not just proud of yourself, but just a lot of self-esteem to know that you're more capable than you thought maybe you were.
You know, I really didn't have any doubt that I was capable. My kids had the doubt that I was capable.
That's awesome, you guys. Okay, so I wanted to stop you guys right there, but sometimes when we ask somebody like how they're doing, and then they come off with saying something that's kind of surprising, we have a tendency to stop. And that's where we want to dive even deeper. And if you notice, Patty was so good about asking like how she was feeling and how it made her feel, because you want to be able to get into their world, kind of put our agenda. Like it could have been real easy for Patty to say, Juice Plus helps with the healing process. Like it totally could have gone that way. But instead, she took time to really figure out like how Sheila was feeling. And that's super important because you start to build a relationship then, and you start to build trust. And that's super important when we're having conversations with people. They're not really interested in your world. They're interested in their world, right? And so taking the time like Patty did was super important. And what that leads into is great conversations, and we learn about improvising. And there was a great quote on improvisation. It's the art of not knowing what you're going to do or say next and being completely okay with that. And that was really important when I started reading about being more like, I used to say punt, but it really punt for me was like, okay, now we need to do some improvisation because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do next, but I got to figure it out. And that's the kind of stuff that comes up in conversations. And so what I'm going to do is have another role play, and I'm actually going to see, let's do Michelle and let's see, who else is on? Let's do Nancy. So this is going to be kind of a fun improvisation. So basically, I'm going to give you a line, Michelle, and you're going to be talking with Nancy.
Okay.
And your part is going to be always starting off the sentence with "fortunately," Michelle. Nancy's going to come back and say "unfortunately," whatever comes to mind. Okay, so
Okay.
now this is a great practice for us to learn how to you don't have to say the right thing, just say something. Okay, so your opening line, Michelle, is that you got fortunately, I got an important piece of mail today.
Okay. All right. Well, hi, Nancy. Fortunately, I got an important piece of mail today.
Hey, Michelle. Unfortunately, mine was terrible.
Oh, goodness. Well, fortunately, oh my gosh, that's really hard to do. I'm so sorry that was terrible, but fortunately, mine was some really good news.
Unfortunately, mine was horrible, but I'd be happy to hear some great news for a change.
That's awesome. Fortunately, I got news that I won $1,000.
Awesome. And unfortunately, I got news that I owed $1,000.
Well, fortunately, I can help you with that.
You guys are so good. So the reason we're doing this is to get, sometimes we always feel like we have to have the right thing in mind to say to somebody. And that was perfect because when you go back and forth and you practice a little bit, it gets you out of the, I always have to say something perfect. You just have to learn how to do things off the cuff and improvise. So that was perfect. and we could have gone on and on about like, oh, I got a bill. Unfortunately, mine was a bill. Oh, but fortunately, whatever. So you just can keep going, but practicing like with friends or family to where you're bantering back and forth without any agenda, but just being able to say something gets you out of the mindset of that I always have to say something perfect. So learning to do things off the cuff. So improvisation is super, super important. And that actually is an exercise that a lot of comedians use. Like, it's your line anyway, I think is one of them, that they do that kind of thing back and forth until it becomes so easy that they don't even think about it.
Look, and I'm also going to record it.
So,
Kimberly, welcome to the call.
hold on.
So easy that they don't even think about it. Look, and I'm also going to record it. Hold on. I'm
We're somehow listening to the recording.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that sounds like us.
Yeah.
So we're going to improvise because now I'm going to turn it over to my friend Ashley, and she's going to actually talk about story brand and bring out some points there. So Ashley, you're on.
Before you do that, Ashley, I just want to really quickly say you guys were amazing. It was way fun. And I really want to acknowledge Sheila, because we got into some really vulnerable spots with you, Sheila, much more than if we had kept talking. And Patty, for you not to be afraid to go down that road when somebody's vulnerable. I think we have fear that when we start to see that this might get too deep for someone, and maybe I should stop asking questions. They're grown-ups, they can always say, gosh, I don't want to talk about that right now. But really to go there and be able to have a spot where they can talk, that was one of those times that was really beautiful. And for Sheila, for you to share that with all of us, that was great.
Yes. Absolutely.
Hey, could you guys mute everybody out just because
I'm getting to it right now.
Awesome. Well, fabulous job, Kerrie. And I'm excited to share a little bit about Story Brand. For those of you that have your books, we're going to be looking at chapters 2 and 3. I love the chapter title of number 2. It says the secret weapon that will grow your business. I think that's why all of us are on this call, why we show up, that drive, that desire. So congratulations to all of you for showing up on a Monday night. And if you look through this, it's a shorter chapter, but Donald Miller, and if you were at conference, you heard him talk about this and kind of go into more detail, but he highlights 7 areas. He calls them sound bites or ideas of kind of what you want to go through on your journey of helping kind of get a prospect into not just a customer, but a raving fan, kind of changing the idea of what it looks like, building your confidence. And so I don't know if anybody has their book and would like to turn to page 20 and 21 and tell us, and if not, I can do it really quick, but I want to give a chance for someone to share the 7 sound bites that Donald Miller talks about. And I'll help you out. It starts with the character.
Oh.
So someone, let me see.
Am I okay to look at the book?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not a test.
Right. I've got it right here, unless I just spoke, unless you want someone else.
I'm fine with that. And for sake of time, you take it away.
All right. So a character has a problem and meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that ends in success or that helps them avoid failure.
Yes, great job. And as Donald Miller said, it's so true. Like every movie's ruined now because you see these exact steps that happen in any really well-written movie. You have the character, the guide that steps in. And what he really pointed out, and it's helped me tremendously start to shift my brain, he's really talking about how so many times we show up as the hero because that's why we're drawn to this business. So many of us, we love helping people. We love offering solutions, but we've got to wait. We've got to be patient. We've got to show up. We've got to help. We've got to give them steps. We have to help them understand what it's all about and why they need it and why Juice Plus is so incredible. I don't know about you, but I've fire hosed at the beginning and told people all the reasons why they needed it and was not very successful. So I loved how Donald Miller broke this down. and talked about how instead of showing up as the hero, we need to show up as the guide them on their journey, even if it doesn't relate to a sell or I don't like to use the word sell, but if it doesn't relate to getting a new customer, helping a family, helping people get more fruits and vegetables, the fact that you guide them, and maybe someone's looking for a friendship, maybe someone, you never know why your paths cross, and it might not always be right in that moment for that transaction of Juice Plus, but you never know down the road as you show up and you're there for them. And so, another moment of vulnerability for us to raise our hands. So raise your hand if you think that you often show up as the guide in your conversations. If you think that's you, that's awesome. Raise your hand. Awesome. Raise your hand if you think you often show up as the hero. You kind of just maybe jump in, you want to, yeah, so maybe a little bit of both. And then sometimes when you show up as a hero, you backtrack. You're like, okay, next time I'm going to shut my mouth, ask more questions. So what I realized, and kind of what Donald Miller says, hero comes naturally. Guide is what we train towards, is what we practice, is what we have the conversations for. I also want to jump into a quick role play. And I was thinking, I'm going to ask Nikki and Kimberly. I don't know if Kimberly would feel just kind of looking
good. I hope she says yes. Kimberly,
Yay!
yay! I'm going to spotlight her.
Okay, so what I want us to look at role playing and practicing. Let me see. So Kimberly's going to be the prospect or the friend, and Nikki, you're part of this amazing company called the Juice Plus Company, and you're going to first show up as the hero.
Oh.
So, Kimberly, I would love for you to start the conversation by telling Nikki you're wanting to get healthier. And we're just going to kind of let it role play and go. And Nikki's going to show up as the hero, and then we're going to flip it and have her show up as the guide.
And you have to unmute yourself. Oh, here it is.
I have just, had a dream the other night that I needed to get myself healthier. My energy has just been down, and I don't know. Any suggestions?
She's made it easy, by the way, by saying any suggestions. But what's really funny about this is that because I'm so practiced the other way, it's hard for me, like thinking, okay, I'm going to just like, okay. So, man, you had a dream the other night that, you got to start getting healthier. I can remember a time in my life when I knew I wasn't healthy enough because my kids were little. I was tired all the time. My knee hurt. I used to get headaches. And just the story goes on and on and on. And I didn't think there was anything out there, but a really good friend of mine told me about this Juice Plus, which of course I thought was stupid, but I decided I would try it anyway. And oh my gosh, you should see what happened after this period of time. My knee got better, my headaches went away, I was less tired, I was more present for my kids. And it's got 27 plus fruits and vegetables and berries in it, and there is science to beat the band. I mean, there is so much science behind it, you can't even believe it. And everybody I know should be on it. I think if you swallow, you should be on Juice Plus. You want to get started? How do you like that for apples?
I'm so glad that was
Send
recorded.
me some information. Let me think about that. That was a lot to swallow.
Speaking of swallow.
And I didn't tell you about the DNA, and I didn't tell you about the skin study, and I didn't tell you about pregnant women. And oh my God, MD Anderson Cancer Center even has a study on it. I mean, I could just go on for 72 hours. Do you want me to?
No.
That was awesome. And sad to say that I was like, wow, that's what it looks like. It's so good to see that. Like, that was totally me. Oh my goodness. Okay. Beautiful. So let's flip it. And now, Kimberly, same thing. You're going to start it the same way. And Nikki's going to come in as the guide.
Okay. So Nikki, I had a dream the other night. I feel like I need to get myself healthier. I've been tired, just dealing with some headaches and just not really kind of like being able to focus like I used to. It's driving me crazy.
So I'm curious, when you said you had a dream last night, do you get interrupted in your sleep very often? Like, did that actually wake you up?
Yeah, I do.
And so you're not sleeping well these days.
Nope.
No. And so when you get up from a night, or what do you do in the middle of the night when you're like woken up at 3:30 in the morning? Have you found something that helps you back to sleep? Like, what do you do?
No, it's usually my old bladder. I have to get up and pee.
Okay. And then can you fall asleep fairly quickly after that?
No.
No. So does your mind start just racing, or what?
Yep, mine starts racing. I start thinking about stuff the next day, what I had, and then I look at the clock, and then I realize I only have this amount of time to sleep, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
I can imagine. And then, so the next morning you wake up, you haven't slept well. And then you said some other things, you had headaches and a couple other things. Do you think that has anything to do with the sleeping, or is there other things that you think might be going on?
It's probably a combination of not getting the right amount of sleep and then just normal stressors throughout the day, brain not being able to stop, and yeah.
So what kinds of things have you been trying that you think might help? Or maybe you've tried them all and you're at your wit's end.
Yeah, kind of at that. I've had blood work done, I'm on thyroid medication. So that helps some, and then my doctor suggested, get some B12 vitamins or something like that. So I've gone to, like CVS, and I've tried like some multivitamins and stuff, but they just don't seem to work, and I end up peeing them out.
So you've tried a bunch of stuff, which, first of all, I just really want to congratulate you. A lot of people just give up before they get started. So you actually went out and tried to find some things that would help. You followed your doctor's orders, and nothing's working.
No.
And so I'm just curious, have you ever tried like meditation or any of the, like there's a meditation thing at night. Sometimes when I can't fall back to sleep, I'll turn on the sleep story and it just lulls me into sleep. But have you tried anything like that?
I've tried sound machines. So I've used sound machines, melatonin, warm glass of milk.
Yeah. So you've done
gratitude.
You put some effort into this. So have you tried anything to do with changing eating habits?
Yeah, I've started eating earlier, so not so close to bedtime, so that the body has time to relax. And that's really about it.
So number one, I just, again, want to give you credit. You've tried different things, nothing's working. I have something, and I have no idea if it would be a match for you. It's something that I've been doing that has made a difference, and it's really made a difference with my family. And it's all natural fruits and vegetables. If I were to send you a video, would you be open just to take a peek?
Yeah, I would love more information.
Okay, I'll send you something off today, and then would you like to have another conversation? Would that be okay?
Yeah, after I watch the video, that'd be great.
Okay, great. I'm excited for you. Let's see if it makes a difference. I don't know, but it has for a lot of people.
Good. I look forward to seeing it.
Awesome. So Kimberly, I want to ask you, that was so great. Thank you so much. How did that feel? What was the difference from the first scenario to the second?
Just the first one, I just felt like I couldn't get a word in edgewise, and that all of this information was just being tossed at me. It made me anxious, actually. And then the second one, I could process and think and understand easier, and I was a lot calmer and more receptive to receive the information.
You guys did amazing. That's so good to hear, because for me, when I hear that, and I'm thinking all of you, we don't want our prospects to feel that. We don't want people that we're talking to feel that way. So the beauty of improv. Thank you guys so much. And quickly just hitting on chapter 3. It says the simple SB7 framework. So SB7 is an little abbreviation for story brand. And 7 are those 7 sound bites that he gave us that we just kind of talked about. Now, the last thing I want to do, because we're really close on time, we want to be really good with honoring your guys' time. Chapter 3 breaks down those 7 steps just a little bit. Now, I'm going to read them, and I want you guys to tell me. You can unmute and share. Sorry, it's me and the 3 littles. So this is how we do our business. Dad's out of town this week. I'm going to read the 7, and I want you to either type in or unmute yourself and let me know which one resonates with you and why. So here we go. So starting on page 29, a character. So the customer is the hero, not your brand. Story brand principle number 1. The customer is the hero, not your brand. The second one has a problem. Companies tend to sell solutions to external problems, but customer buy solutions to internal problems. A lot of times companies go for the external while customers are looking for the internal. 3 meets a guide. Customers aren't looking for another hero, they're looking for a guide. 4, who gives them a plan. Customers trust a guide who has a plan. Number 5, calls them to action. Customers do not take action unless they are challenged to take an action. So a lot of times they're just sitting there kind of waiting for us to help give that next step. Number 6, it helps them avoid failure. Every human being is trying to avoid a tragic ending. And lastly, ends in success. Never assume people understand how your brand can change their lives. Tell them. So I'm going to mute myself, and I would love for some of you to unmute, or you can put in the comments which one stood out to you and why.
I trust a guide who has a plan. So I love that somebody can kind of explain to me why they want to go a certain direction. And sometimes I always say I'm awful about that, but I want to know details why I'm taking steps the direction I'm going.
Yes.
And I put number 7, just never assume people understand how your brand can change their lives. Tell them. I think after doing this for so many years, I assume everybody knows, knows what we have. And it really brings it back to reality that no, not everybody does. It's important.
Yes, and Kimberly said it has a problem because for me, you deal with the medical issues and look for answers and want to help others. Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, it's the realizing they're looking for, we're looking for the internal and not just going for that external, so, and that comes with questions. And as we saw with Nikki and Kimberly, instead of telling, Mommy? Asking. Was there anyone else? Kerrie, which one stood out to you? And then I'm going to hand it off to you to close us out.
Okay. Well, the one that spoke to me is the customer is the hero, not our brand, which really goes back into investing into that person, into a relationship versus, it's ditching the pitch. It's getting rid of the sales and really investing into the relationship of the person in front of you and finding out really what's going on with them and asking enough questions to earn the right to be heard. Then you can become that guide, just like Nikki did, which is really great. And being able, I think for all of us, when we invest into the relationship, I think it becomes easier to do an improv, to just really work with whatever's in front of you, because when the sales is set aside, you become more invested in finding out why that person is where they're at or feeling the way they are. And so I think, for us, just to wrap up these chapters, it's really about investing into that relationship and being the guide. And that offers the opportunity, just like Nikki did. She offered it after she asked enough questions and was the guide for Kimberly. So that was perfect. So go out and practice doing things off the cuff and have longer conversations. So I'm super excited for our next chapters. And I think this is a close. It's good.
Yeah, did a great job, everybody. I hope you were taking notes. I hope you can all get the book because it will really make a difference if you do. And I'm trying to unspotlight. Oh, I know how to do it. So everybody can see everybody and say goodbye to everybody. There we go. So great call tonight, everybody. Get your books for next week and get ready because we'll be doing habit number 1, which is input before output. And we're going to do Story Brand Chapter 4. So good night, everybody. Have a great one tomorrow night, Tuesday
Night.
night.
Thank you very
5:30,
much.
Good night.
job,
See you
guys.
tomorrow night. Tuesday
5:30
night.
tomorrow night. Hang on, 5:30 tomorrow night. We have Healthy Living Affiliates, and it's the affiliate part of it's a third class, so you're going to want to get that. And then at 6 o'clock, we have none other than Doug Barlow, Mr. Mitra Ray. And he's so much fun, and he just was in Bend, and I heard he was incredible. So you're going to want to see him tomorrow night, and he's probably a great one. Either call is good to have guests on, the 5:30 call or the 6 o'clock call. 5:30 call, remember, is a webinar, so it is healthylivingaffiliates.com. You go to a website, and the 6 o'clock call, of course, is our call on the 328 number. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.